All I hear is talking, I don't sweat that. If they don't trust me either, I respect that. The she be down the ride, oh, I bet that. Ooh.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. My name is JH. How you doing, Postal family? Is everybody good? Is everybody cool? Everybody clean? Are you crisp? Are you feeling irie today? Let's talk. All right, we just gonna jump right into it, all right? DeJoy is stepping down once they find a predecessor for him. This can cause a lot of different issues. A lot of people are like, well, I don't care. I ain't like the guy anyway. But the one thing that people want to be concerned about is whether or not it's going to slow down our negotiations when it comes down to our contract. So with the letter carriers, they're almost into arbitration, depending on what time you're listening to this video. So the APWU is not quite there yet. And then you have the mail handlers and you got the rural carriers as well. So there's a lot going on behind the scenes. So I'm going to give you 5 pros and 5 cons in regards to Mr. DeJoy stepping down. Mind you, all transparency, I personally liked the direction that he was going. Not a favorable thing amongst a lot of y'all, but that's okay. I'm not here to appease to everybody. I have my opinion behind that. But the pros to him stepping down, that means that there's a potential for improved union relationships. DeJoy's tenure was marked with frequent clashes with a lot of the postal unions, right? Particularly over cost-cutting measures and the service slowdowns. Him leaving would particularly open the door for a new leader that prioritizes collaborations with the union. Chances of that are rare, but that could happen. Potentially erasing any tension that the unions may have with upper management and possibly fostering in a new culture and a more cooperative relationship. We're high hopes. Again, these are just opinions. These are things that could happen. Guaranteed something is going to happen. We just don't know which one of these things are going to happen. All right. Number 2 is the opportunity to reevaluate the cost-cutting measures. You remember DeJoy's 10-year plan, Delivering for America. It included consolidating a lot of the mail processing centers and reducing overtime, which a lot of the unions were arguing it harmed the service and it harmed the quality of the worker conditions, etc. Pushed them to rush. It got the carriers with this new in and out rule. So there was a lot of things that were implemented that because of DeJoy that you know, the new person may reassess that and revisit the policies and may address union concerns, which is a good thing about job security and the service standards. Now, remember, when they have these, you know, the new machines that were coming in, that tends to eliminate positions regardless. We spoke about this. If you've been with me, we talk about the elimination of positions. So that could be a possible plus because he's stepping down. Number 3 is focus on worker retention and morale. Obviously, that's self-explanatory. DeJoy's early retirement incentivizes the staff reductions were seen as by unions as attempts to downsize the workforce. Pretty much what it was. That's what he wanted to do, reduce the size of the workforce because cost cutting. The person that comes in after him could prioritize retaining some of those employees and changing the experience that the new employees have when they're coming in. Although DeJoy was trying to work on that, improving the morale, which is crucial basically for people to stay. That was a big thing. People would come and they would go, come and go. It's like a damn rotating door, which is effective for union negotiations. We want people to stay. And if the person that comes in says, yes, you know, we are willing to help, you know, foster in a new culture, change the culture, Jay says, then possibly we might be able to retain more employees. We don't want a high turnover rate like Amazon. Number 4, the new PMG could have an alignment with the union priorities and the service standards. Unions criticized DeJoy for lowering on-time delivery targets and extending delivery times in rural areas. That was not even something that people could debate. He said, it could be later for some rural areas might not get pickups, etc. A new leader may align more closely with union officials and the union demands for maintaining a better service and standard, which could help strengthen their negotiations, right? I personally think that our on-time stuff sucked. Just regardless of whether DeJoy was there or wasn't, it wasn't. It sucked. Number 5 is there's a potential for greater transparency. The carriers, they had no transparency. I don't know what their president was doing when he stepped in there and talking about me alone. He's still on that shit. But DeJoy faced a lot of criticism. Y'all saw a lot of the times when they were talking to him in the Congress and the Senate. There was a lack of transparency when he was implementing those changes when it came down to the network consolidations. He did put the plan out there. No one quite understood it, could understand it. And some things seemed like they just kind of snuck in behind the scenes. But, who knows? A new postmaster could adopt a more open approach involving the unions in decision making and processing and building trust. Now, for those people that say, no, the unions didn't know. If you watch me a couple years ago, I always said they cannot open a new building. They cannot close a building without the union knowing first. They just can't. The unions know. Whether they share it with you or not is a whole different story. So that's why people are like, oh, you anti-union. No, I'm just letting you know. They can't make a move because the union represents the workforce, and the workforce has to be there for them to open a new building. So they have to discuss it with the union. So regardless of what they say, we didn't know nothing about it. That's bullshit. Somebody knew something. Now, the cons to this, which is a big thing. This could disrupt the ongoing reforms, which I personally like. DeJoy's 10-year plan, I liked it. It was midway through its implementation, and being that he's leaving, it's going to have uncertainty when it comes down to these reforms. Unions are going to face challenges negotiating with a new leader who could either delay or alter the plan. We were heading in a direction for 5 years. Now somebody comes in and they fucking change shit. It's going to be pure madness. It's going to be a big potential for disrupting the progress. Number 2, there's always a risk to reverting to financial instability. Okay. DeJoy's cost-cutting measures, it was very controversial, but it did help the USPS achieve a rare net profit in some of those quarters. Now they say, oh, we lost a lot. Yeah, y'all did lose a lot, or we lost a lot, but we also made some money. He did. A new leader may prioritize union demands over financial stability, which is why people, oh, you are anti-union, Jay. No, I'm not. But if this place ain't making money, we can't demand more money. It's what it is. And honestly, this place we were losing it, okay? We were losing it. The service standards sucked here. We keeping it 100. I love my people, but the service standard sucks. Y'all go to the stations. We had a full conversation. We're not going to revisit that. A new leader may bring us back to where we were before. We can't advance if we go back to the bullshit where we were at before. Some people liked it because they were complacent, but complacency is the enemy of progress. Don't need to elaborate on that more. Number 3, there is a potential for political interference. DeJoy's successor, which would be whoever the board appoints, could face political pressure to reverse certain policies that were implemented already. That could complicate the union negotiations. Political agendas could lead to overshadowing the needs of the workers and the agency, leading to less effective outcomes. So these are the cons, I'm telling you. I think it's going to slow down. Honestly, DeJoy leaving, if he does not handle the next contract and finish this up, there's definitely going to be more delays. Number 4, there could be uncertainty for union members. A leadership change could create uncertainty for union membership, particularly regarding job security and benefits. DeJoy's said nobody's going to lose a job, no blah, blah, blah. He went through his whole thing. Now, suppose this is a hypothetical. Suppose somebody comes in and they say, okay, yeah, we'll give the union everything they want, but we're going to take away that job security aspect of it. No layoff clause, out the window. We're going to give you the money you want, but that no layoff shit that y'all want, that's gone. Now, at any given moment, people could lose their jobs. See where that comes from? Like, oh, shit. Damn, you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. We got to be careful what we ask for. It's not one of these topics y'all want to hear, but this is the reality of what could happen. Again, one of these things is going to happen. We just don't know what. But at least you have an idea, right? I ain't Nostradamus. All right. There's a possible resistance to union demands. DeJoy's departure may seem favorable, but a new leader could be equally or more resistant to the union demands, especially if they prioritize financial sustainability over worker benefits. This could lead to continued friction and stalled negotiations. For example, politics aside, but you know what's going on in the workforce nationwide. They're telling people to come back to work, or they're telling people you don't come back to work, you're getting fired, right? Now, if they're saying, hey, y'all need to come back, you need to start working, and we're not going to pay you no more money. You either accept it or we're going to replace you. That's it. There's people that are in office right now. They ain't putting up with nobody's bullshit. Right now, we're blessed to be somewhat untouchable. But let somebody get into that position that aligns with what the nation's strategy is at the moment. Truth be told, a union ain't going to be helping us none. They're going to be like, well, I don't give a that's what's going on right now. So in conclusion, DeJoy's decision to step down, it presents opportunities, and yet it presents challenges for the union with their negotiations. So it can improve relations and address long-standing concerns, but at the same time, it risks disruption of the ongoing reforms and creating uncertainty. Right now, we're trying to get more when it comes down to finances, when it comes down to job security, when it comes down to changing the culture. And slowly, very slowly, we're working towards that. You get somebody worse than DeJoy coming in there, straight facts. We gonna be straight up fucked. No other way around it. Again, there's so many different what ifs. This year is going to be real interesting to see how this plays out. And again, this is not a happy message, but it's a real message. If you understood any of it, gave you 5 pros of him leaving, 5 cons of him leaving, but they're most realistic. And how our negotiations go when it comes down to the union fighting for us. It's like, oh shit, we know who we're dealing with right now. We know how to attack this situation. God forbid somebody different steps in. Now they got to feel the person out. I feel like there's going to be some delays. I'm not sure, but I feel like that's what's in our near future. All right. This is JH. I don't quite have the camera that I want yet. This is working off of some other garbage. Hopefully this sounds good and looks good. I'm just putting it out there, so don't y'all start picking at me. I got to figure out how to work this one. All right. This is JH, and I'm out.